By learning to concentrate, a person acquires control over psychic energy, the basic fuel upon which all thinking depends. Skiing down a slope, there is no room in your awareness for conflicts or contradictions. Contrary to what happens all too often in everyday life, in moments such as these, what we feel, what we wish, and what we think are in harmony. These exceptional moments are what I have called flow experiences. The metaphor of flow is one that many people have used to describe the sense of effortless action they feel in moments that stand out as the best in their lives. Athletes refer to it as being in the zone, religious mystics as being in ecstasy, artists and musicians as aesthetic rapture. Athletes, mystics, and artists do very different things when they reach flow, yet their descriptions of the experience are remarkably similar. It is easy to enter flow in games such as chess, tennis, or poker because they have goals and rules for action that make it possible for the player to act without questioning what should be done and how. For the duration of the game, the player lives in a self-contained universe where everything is black and white. The same clarity of goals is present if you perform a religious ritual, play a musical piece, weave a rug, write a computer program, climb a mountain, or perform surgery. Activities that induce flow could be called flow activities because they make it more likely for the experience to occur. In contrast to normal life, flow activities allow a person to focus on goals that are clear and compatible. Another characteristic of flow activities is that they produce immediate feedback. Flow tends to occur when a person's skills are fully involved in overcoming a challenge that is just about manageable. If challenges are too high, one gets frustrated, then worried, and eventually anxious. If challenges are too low relative to one's skills, one gets relaxed, then bored. If both challenges and skills are perceived to be low, one gets to feel apathetic. But when high challenges are matched with high skills, then the deep involvement that sets flow apart from ordinary life is likely to occur. A typical day is full of anxiety and boredom. Flow experiences provide the flashes of intense living against this dull background. When goals are clear, feedback relevant, and challenges and skills are in balance, attention becomes ordered and fully invested. Because of the total demand on psychic energy, a person in flow is completely focused. There is no space in consciousness for distracting thoughts, irrelevant feelings. Self-consciousness disappears, yet one feels stronger than usual. The sense of time is distorted. Hours seem to pass by in minutes. When a person's entire being is stretched in the full functioning of body and mind, whatever one does becomes worth doing for its own sake. Living becomes its own justification. In the harmonious focusing of physical and psychic energy, life finally comes into its own. It is the full involvement of flow rather than happiness that makes for excellence in life. When we are in flow, we are not happy, because to experience happiness, we must focus on our inner states, and that would take away attention from the task at hand. If a rock climber takes time out to feel happy while negotiating a difficult move, he might fall to the bottom of the mountain. The surgeon can't afford to feel happy during a demanding operation, or a musician while playing a challenging score. Only after the task is completed do we have the leisure to look back on what has happened And then we are flooded with gratitude for the excellence of that experience. Then, in retrospect, we are happy. This kind of happiness is very vulnerable and dependent on favorable external circumstances. The happiness that follows flow is of our own making, and it leads to increasing complexity and growth in consciousness.
If people don't feel engaged or they feel overwhelmed, time is going to go really slow, right? So, like as crafting an experience, we're paying attention to physical elements of how you create a sense of flow, how you create a sense of engagement that feels like it's alive, and where you stop thinking about time, right? Or stop thinking about how bad you feel or how good you feel. You're not focused on yourself. You're focused on something happening. And that is in the neighborhood of timelessness. So it's a beautiful thing to, I feel like I'm in the magic shop a lot of time as a teacher, because I've learned a lot of these skills that, people only over in the dance department learn. You wouldn't want to go there because why would anything good happen there? Like choreography, time, space, energy. Why do you think dance has been so discounted? It's the magic shop. Time, space, energy, power. Dance is a virtual realm of power. The powers of interaction and intersection. So like timelessness, all you have to do is start a drum. Get the rhythm going and people suddenly are not thinking about time. Isn't that weird? I love that.
As we think about some of these bigger experiences, timelessness, or however we want to describe those, that those are things that are happening in a particular part of the brain. And what I believe is that actually that part of our brain only gets activated by movement and activity. So it's not, at this point in the function, our nervous systems are set up so that there's information going from our brain out to our nervous system, and there's information that's coming in from our nervous system that's informing our brain. So I think what I kind of believe is that by activating these various processes, whether it's moving or singing or telling stories or having stillness or being in contact with other people, that we're waking up certain parts of the brain where those experiences are activated. That's where that happens. I mean, it doesn't really matter ultimately physiologically, but what we know is that what I keep noticing is that it's through activity, it's through the body doing something that we get to that place. And so we ask people to do those things, and that thing happens. And it happens consistently, pretty consistently. And it happens.
Science! It's a science. We just didn't write it down and get a grant and all that.
And it doesn't seem to matter so much about, geography or
culture,
or race or age or whatever, that it's pretty consistent. And this is not, we didn't make this stuff up. Ultimately, this other peoples have known about this forever. We're just, I think maybe in Western culture, we just have this particular task of rediscovering this truth that we've been cut off from.
Uniting with the infinite silence is pictured as a conscious experience in the living here and now. This experience is timeless. This experience is wholly now. The infinite that and the I are both timeless. In the experience pointed to by the metaphor uniting with the infinite silence, the temporal world stops. I exist in the now. The past is only memory. The future is only anticipation of the not yet. In this now, I'm liberated from both memory and anticipation. I live in freedom. And within this freedom, I can return to my temporal world. I have memories and anticipations. I have a body with its sensations, emotions, and thoughts. But I am a liberation of detachment from the temporal flow. I live in the temporal flow as a non-temporal union with the timeless.
All I really wanted was to have a happy life. But now I'm considering that this hope for a special feeling may have limited my ability to connect with a much deeper fulfillment. I am finding this deeper truth almost irresistible. Come with me as we seek the necessary practices for living lives full of flow and authenticity.